Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Real Management Talk with LJ and Jocelyn. I'm Jocelyn,
I'm LJ.
and we're really excited to welcome you to this new episode of Real Management Talk. So, LJ and I have been talking, and as promised in our season opening episode this year, we're going to go back to talking about intrapreneurs, because entrepreneurs are really, really important to your business growth.
Amen.
So, LJ,
And
got?
Jocelyn, what's interesting about this conversation about entrepreneurs is that people really forget that, especially with millennials and thinking about the future of work, we have to think differently about staff and about employees. And when you think about staff and employees as people who want to be partners in your business, entrepreneurship is really that door that you want to open for them. You want to make it possible for them to generate ideas and find ways to make work more fulfilling or get things done faster and create more value for the company from their standpoint. Because as we were talking about in our previous episode, what I love about entrepreneurship is that it's all about making decisions at the right level. When we empower our entrepreneurs the way that they need to be, we're able to see progress in our organizations because we see that they have the space, they have the agency, they have the psychological safety to be able to voice where there are opportunities to make improvements and then be able to champion making those improvements. That is, it's really uncommon today, especially when you think about nonprofit organizations. I mean, how often do we talk to people who are working in nonprofits complaining about they have too much work to do and not enough time, and of course they don't get enough pay and they never have enough fringe benefits. Just imagine if that grant accountant was able to talk a little bit more specifically to the CFO, for example, about ways that you can build fringe benefits into each of the grants to support all of the staff in the organization, or thinking about ways to position the organization to get some of those things sponsored, looking at these multi-million, billion-dollar companies who might be interested in sponsoring a part or all of your fringe benefits because of the work that you do and because of your mission. The grant accountant is in the position, because they do the accounting for the grants, to know what type of expenses are expected, what's eligible and what's not eligible. So if the grant accountant is empowered and feels safe to be able to make those types of recommendations because they came up with that idea and then actually follow through as part of a team of other entrepreneurs in the organization or outside of the organization, if that grant accountant can actually put the vision into action like an entrepreneur is tasked to do, just think of how well off your organization would be.
Well, you got a very valid point there, right? I mean, one of the things about building teams and organizations and building people is empowering them to actually make decisions, empowering them to not have to constantly go ask somebody for permission. The whole mother may I thing, right? I mean, sometimes I think as founders and as entrepreneurs and like this, we've all been taught a certain thing from a very young age. And it really is true that, when we go to school and stuff, we're taught to be employees. And so because we're taught to be employees, and that is so in our minds without us even really thinking about it, that when we open businesses or we found nonprofits or we're growing teams, we're going to work for another one and we're in that leadership position, that we forget that we should be developing people. And I don't think the majority, I think really the majority of people are not as eye-centered as the media and movies and everything would have us believe. I think most people really do want to give and help their team members, their staff, all of that. But I think that unconsciously we go out and we treat so we think that people have to report to us every 2 seconds because that's how we were taught. We can't, we can't drop the fry basket, for those who started careers and as teenagers, as some of us might have,
Fast food.
we can't drop that fry basket without, the shift supervisor telling us drop the fry basket, right? And so we get kind of programmed like that subconsciously without thinking about it. And yet to actually lead and really grow effective organizations, especially in the nonprofit space, but really in all company spaces, we have to empower people. If we don't empower them and we don't empower people to be entrepreneurs, there's all kinds of other problems that, we could probably talk for days on this subject alone, but the entrepreneur though, it's really this whole idea though of bringing people into your organization or developing people in your organization, and even looking at people who say right now, maybe they don't seem like they really fit. Maybe people, I hate to say this, but maybe, some of their other colleagues and stuff complain about them or like that, but that it's not really that they don't fit. They may very well fit the culture. The culture may very well fit them, but they're in the wrong position and they don't have the right authority but yet, I've seen some really great organizations that they literally empower their people. Like every single person has the ability, for instance, to sell. They know what all the products are, they know what this is. And so if somebody calls in and the receptionist answers the phone and the receptionist says, well, okay, they say, well, I want to talk sales. Okay, well, can you tell me what you want to talk about? And they're like, oh, I want to know about XYZ. That they're like, oh, I don't need to transfer you. Let me tell you about XYZ. Oh, you want to purchase it? Okay, well, I've got another call coming in. Can I put you on hold for just a minute? I'll be right back to you, and or let me just take care of that for you right now. And it's not this constant thing, because I'm going to give you a really, this happened in the last couple of weeks. Example of that. There was an issue with let's just say one of our service providers, okay, for our operations, okay? And I called them because they were like, okay, I tried chatting with them and they're like, okay, well, we need you to call us. So I called them, they called me back. I said, here's the thing, I got this email from actually a client of mine that said to call you, and they were one of our service providers, but it was something that a client of ours had also gone to work with them. And they said, give you this case number, and then you'll work this around to like what what was agreed upon. The first guy, this is no lie. And I literally just went, are you kidding me? Because the thing about entrepreneurs is you're making everybody part of your customer service team, which they should be in the first place. And he goes, oh, okay, well, you need to talk to this division. So he transfers me. So now I talk to this guy, this new guy. It's all men I was talking to, by the way. There was no ladies on this call. And I'm not saying that I don't, men who are listening, I don't want you to think I'm saying they're not men, but just when you hear me say men, in reality, it was all men. So Jacob transfers me over to Dustin. I talked to Dustin. I said, Dustin, here's the case number. Dustin goes, oh, that's this division. Let me transfer you. I then get Charlie. we have to go through the same thing again. Now we're 20 minutes into this thing. I'm getting a little annoyed. Same thing. Do you know what Charlie says to me? You'll never guess.
What?
I gotta transfer you. That's this division. You know what was even better about that? So now I'm transferred. I'm back on hold again. Now we're 30 minutes into this thing with me on hold.
Wow.
And you know who picks up the phone in the division? Jacob, the first guy I started with, who then goes, oh, I can take care of that for you. Do you know how many minutes got wasted because somehow, someplace, somebody was playing pass the ball, pass the ball, pass the ball, pass the ball, pass the ball? And it really started me thinking about this, like the intrapreneur can be the lowest paid person on your team. And if you empower them, the truth is they'll help you grow. And if you empower them in a nonprofit, they're going to help you get more supporters. They're going to, sometimes you'll be surprised, bring in people who end up being able to write you big checks that they knew. But we have to develop these folks and we have to give them the right support. And not teach them the past buck. No, seriously, I was just like, I literally said to him, I'm like, Jacob, this is me, Jocelyn, again. I started with you, you passed me the so-and-so, who passed me the so-and-so, and now I'm back to you.
Wow.
And it's a
That's
major
insane.
company in this country, by the way.
But to your point, if we had intrapreneurs in that organization that felt empowered and knew that they could make the decision, then you would not have been tossed around. You wouldn't have been bounced from this person to that person to this person. But that's really a tacit expectation of people on the job, right? We like to think of that as a soft skill, because it's not necessarily based on hard skills. It's not based on what you've learned or what your experience is. It's more based on your emotional intelligence. Are you self-aware? Are you cognizant of the customer experience? And are you cognizant of the voice of the customer? And can you incorporate the voice of the customer in your processes and procedures? It goes totally into soft skills, but it is really truly a tacit expectation that you know how to handle these types of situations that are not going to be documented, because on paper, you're going to follow the chain of command. And it may have been a situation where Jacob didn't think that addressing your issue was within his scope as a team member, and again, it's a tacit expectation. But if we are not empowering our employees to be intrapreneurs, where they're an entrepreneur that's in a corporate culture, if we're not empowering them, then we're going to see people continue to pass the buck rather than actually take on, champion the organization and be the type of leader that they would want to follow.
Exactly. We're going to have some interesting sounds on a side note in this because the phone decided to be.
Sorry, I'm close to an airport here.
It's okay. That's not your fault either. This is why, guys, we say that this is raw. We actually do not edit this audio very much at all. You're getting us real. This is who we are. And with that note, we're going to take a minute so that our sponsors who support us can do their thing. And so we'll be right back.